gonna do an all signs reading, get all caught up on everything. Yesterday was a full moon in Taurus. The moon is currently in Taurus still. It's very heavy energy. Hold on a second because I just realized I brain farted something. Okay, I'm back. So yes, we also have that lunar eclipse happening. It's a partial lunar eclipse, and it's between the 28th and 29th, depending on where you are in the world. So there's that. November, we're gonna have a pretty dope meteor shower as well. Let me think. Also, having a lunar and solar eclipse in the same month is pretty heavy energy, I feel like. You know, the sun is all about opportunities, right? And I feel like that was all about like seizing opportunities or the doorway of certain opportunities closing out. Whereas like the lunar eclipse is like bringing an ending to a cycle, closing out karmic patterns and habits and certain things of that nature. So let's see. Doop, doop, doop. We're going to tap into your energy, see who you are and what you need to hear. And then I will be getting on the water signs today. Berating them. No kidding, no kidding. So let's see. Who are you? What is your energy? What is this lunar eclipse with the full moon energy doing for you? We have starseed. In this world, but not of this world, right? This is focusing on the self, actually. This could also be, because it says self, memories, and identity. You could be having, like, some past life regression in regards to that. Like, it could be establishing a new identity for yourself, right? Identity shifting is a big deal, especially with, like, the lunar energy that's happening right now. I definitely see, like, this guy is, like, pondering, looking out the window, and this girl's with her Rubik's Cube, like, trying to figure some shit out. And I feel that with that past life regression, it comes through in a lot of ways. It comes through in dreams, premonitions, or I guess premonition isn't the right word, visions, deja vus. You catch those little glimpses where your soul is able to connect with the brain, and the soul can tell you what it remembers in some ways, whereas your current brain didn't live your past life. So it takes a little bit to get that ego self to recognize the soul self and like what that's been through, right? Because it's the ego self that's new, that's like a baby, and it's the soul self that's like been here since the dawn of energy. A lot of people say like eternity means that there was no beginning. However, thought the Atlantean once said that in the beginning there was a beginning, therefore time exists. So take it as it resonates. Like I feel like the fourth dimension is the weirdest fucking one. Like the last time, and the fourth dimension is temporal, it's time, right? So the last time I did mushrooms with my sister, I was sitting there and time was it was behaving weird, okay? It felt like so much was going on, so much was happening, and every time I checked the time, I was like, holy fuck, only 20 minutes has passed? I feel like I've been here for 8 years, and I was enjoying myself, and that made it weirder that time was behaving like that, because usually when you enjoy yourself, like time is like skipping, and I feel like the behavior of time is also kind of going through a shift, or at least my perception of it, which is nice. It's kind of like it's something I always had wanted, for like the more daunting times to pass by quickly and the fun times to take their time. So for me, that was kind of sick, being able to experience it that way. That is also part of like that timeline shift where, when you start changing the trajectory of your life, you change your timeline, you change where you're going, what direction you're heading in, right? Also, identity shifting does that for you as well. So, let's see. What message do you need today? Little starseed. Little light worker. Being a starseed can feel, I don't want to say lonely, right? But it does make you feel like you're on a planet where there's no other kind of your species nearby, right? And every now and then you catch your soul tribe and you find those people that you really connect with, but it's so rare and few, it's not like you're going to feel that way with everybody that you connect with, right? Not that that's bad, because you can still love and care for people who aren't part of that. And just understand them as kind of different, part of a new path, right? Seven of Wands in reverse, struggling to see a way forward. Before I read these other cards that came up, I want to, clarify that. What do you mean by that? In regards to what? Seven of Cups in reverse with the Devil in reverse, clarifying the Seven of Wands in reverse. Perhaps you've closed the door to romantic opportunities. Something about starseeds is they often have to experience a lot of alone time, right? And not lonely time, but alone time, right? And a lot of time without a partner. And honestly, that's where we get our greatest inspirations. And, it's in those times of solitude. And perhaps you could be feeling, okay, that was a lot. You could be feeling a bit disenchanted by the whole idea of, dating or pursuing something. With the Devil in reverse, it's I see you kind of not wanting to introduce certain toxicities in your life, and you feel like opening those doors could introduce that kind of drama. With the Strength card in reverse, Leo energy. So far we have Capricorn and Leo. And that's just the energy of the cards. It could be in your chart. You could be one of those signs. You could be dealing with people with those signs. But ultimately, that's the energy of the cards. I'm pulling a lot of Leo lately, actually. the strength in reverse, I feel like you just don't have the willpower for that kind of thing, I guess. It's kind of this energy of like you've been through the ringer and you're tired of having to be strong in certain situations. And then we get to that point, right, where it's like, you know what, I don't want to have to be strong and power through something. I need a path with less resistance, right? We have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Also, you could have like a weakness for shopping or spending, right? Or there's like a struggle to like hold on to resources here. With the Devil in reverse, it could be in relation to vices. Alright, what's your advice? That's strange advice. With the Magician in reverse, Mercury energy, right? Mercury is all about overthinking. And I feel like you're coming to a place of disillusionment. And I feel like you're being called to like not try to dictate your outcomes. Right? We've got the High Priestess in reverse. Because it almost feels like you doubt the universe or you doubt, like, success on something. Could be in regards to a business plan or with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. And with the Devil in reverse, right, that Capricorn energy, it's like the Devil is supposed to be like excellent at entrepreneurship and like navigating the material world, right? If we take away the negative aspects of the Devil and really think about like, you know, it's almost like, and with that strength card in reverse also showing like a struggle to find courage to pursue something here. And it's like telling you to like lighten up, right? Like you have such a strong grip on the way that you think things should be and the way things should turn out. And it's kind of like if you like let the universe take the reins a bit and allow yourself to be guided by the divine, you can find yourself being way more successful in your endeavor than you realize. With the Queen of Swords in reverse, this is also like not being super defensive, right? And not always looking for what's wrong in a situation, but rather looking at what's right about the situation. Right? If you're in a situation that you'd rather not be in, if you struggle to find a way forward, sometimes the best thing to do is to stop moving. Right? It's like one time I got lost in the woods, and I Jedi flipped, so I was tripping, and I was, you know, when you're tripping and you look around, all the woods look like the same. Like, all the paths look like the way back, you know. And I was like, I followed my intuition, and I was like, I don't know my way forward. I'm stuck here in the woods. If I keep going in a certain direction, I don't know where exactly I'm going, I could get myself super lost and never be found again, you know? And so I had enough wits about me to stop moving. And then the person I was there with, I was like, look, because they were like, well, no, we should go this way and we should go. And I was like, we need to stop moving. Like, if we can't see the way forward, the best thing to do is to stop moving. Like, and take a moment to assess, you know, the situation, to look at another way. And so we were able to contact somebody who was able to ping our location and help map us out of there, right? And it got us right back to where we were supposed to be. Luckily, we did that. Because otherwise, like, if we had gone further up because the cell service was shit, we were lucky we were in a spot that, like, we were able to contact somebody and we were able to navigate our way out of that. And I feel like if you're ever feeling like you're stuck in a spot and it's like, and you're like, okay, everywhere I'm looking doesn't look like the right way to go, or like I don't know how to move forward, stay still, right? Just let the answer come to you. Let that guidance reach you, you know? Because, I mean, your ancestors are there for you. They will nudge you in the right direction, you know? You will find it. You'll always be nudged in the right direction. They be dropping hints all the time. They're like, oh, you think you're stuck? Well, there's always a way out. You know, it's like in jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter what hold somebody puts you in. There's always a way out of it, right? The High Priestess in reverse is also the moon in reverse, right? Sorry. There was a ghost that walked through me. So, yeah, the High Priestess in reverse is the moon in reverse. The Ace of Swords is also in reverse, so I'm taking that into account. Because the moon card talks about, like, illuminating a truth, right? Ace of Swords is all about speaking the truth or bringing the truth. There's something hidden, right? Whether it's hidden from you or you're the one hiding it. And with the Six of Pentacles, it could be in regards to somebody that, like, you rely on or you have, like, a mutual kind of reliance on. But it's almost like there's something here that needs to be said. And, you know, whether it's how you feel about a situation or, you know, it's like there's an openness that needs to happen. With that Queen of Swords in reverse, it's like you're being called to let your guard down a little bit and to not be so defensive about what it is that needs, you know, and it could be something as basic as, like, you know, if you have, like, a roommate and you don't like certain things that they do, the best thing that you can do is communicate with them, right? And tell them, hey, da 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 da, and be open. If you have a partner and you no longer want that partnership or you're looking for a way out of it, but you feel like you're just kind of stuck in it, sometimes the best thing to do is to be straight up, right? And that can be the hardest thing to do also. We have Six of Wands. I see the Six of Wands talks about somebody in the spotlight, somebody gaining popularity, or somebody who, like, gets a lot of public acknowledgement. And, you know, if you are somebody who's, like, a public figure, and getting, like, all this new, like, kind of attention, or you're starting to feel different, starting to move in different ways, and that's a hard thing to communicate to somebody who has been with you in previous, you know, eras of your life. Where it's like, and, you know, because we all change, right? We all go through, like, a metamorphosis. And so, during these changes, you notice that, like, sometimes certain partnerships are not what you need, or certain friendships, or certain living situations, or whatever the hell. It's like something that was once pretty good for you is no longer that, and trying to express that. And even jobs, yeah, with the Ace of Pentacles, it's time for you to enter into like a new cycle, to go in a new, I see reality as being like a Fibonacci spiral, right? There's always a beginning to the Fibonacci spiral. However, it can go infinitely upward, right? And then it becomes infinity downward, but there's usually a starting point with that. And what I see with that is like you can't go through that same cycle twice. Once a cycle is coming to completion, it's like, and it's time to walk away from it, because otherwise it just feels burdensome. And then it's like, it becomes a burden on the other people too that are also in these cycles with you, whether it's work, relationships, living situations, friendships, whatever the fuck. If you're going through a period of identity shifting also, you might find that you prefer like a different way of existing, a different way of living, And it's like I was talking to one of my best friends yesterday, and she was telling me how like she just wants solitude more than anything. She wants to be able to have her own space again, and to have that solitude. And I feel like a lot of starseeds go through that, right? It's like where everything feels overstimulating, like having, like other people in our energy, having bosses, can even be like, ugh, somebody's telling me what to do. And I know like where I rank spiritually, and that's hard on the material realm to not rank where I do spiritually. And it's like, and having to live kind of divided between worlds in that way, it's like I'm a level 508 wizard, in spiritual terms, but then I come back to reality, and it's like I have to work my day job, and I have to pay bills, and I have to, I don't have like, I don't have that same ranking, or at least, well, maybe, I don't know, but it's trying to bring that reality and this reality together and fuse them into a more cohesive reality, right? A reality where they both kind of make sense. Because, it's like you have to evolve the ego self to match like the ranking and level of your soul self. And is there enough time? It's like hard. Your soul has to put your ego through a lot of shit in order to get it trained up to that point to where you can, rank that high on the material realm. It's like, it's hard. And especially if you're surrounded by people who don't understand where you rank. If they don't understand like where you're headed on that energetic level, because they're still on this material level over here, and they still remember you from like last week, and you're like, I'm a whole new motherfucker from last week. What are you talking about? Like, I don't even remember that guy. Like, jeez. And it's weird to go through these transitions and these changes, and then feeling like held back by certain individuals who can't see past that. They're like, oh, well, you were this and you were that, and you and you're like, yeah, I'm changing. Like, I'm evolving. And if you're not evolving, if you're staying stuck in that mindset, if you're still in the fucking yesterdays, then guess what, chicken butt? You're not going into tomorrow with me, and that's, just how it is. And that's rough, right? whether, in whatever level that is. It's like if your boss can't see your potential or where you're ranking, it's like you don't feel like you should be working for somebody who's less evolved than you, right? That's demeaning, right? Demeaning as fuck. That's why I have so much respect for strippers, because I'm like, man, like, y'all work for yourselves, you make hella money, you get shit done, you get to choose your own hours, you don't live, like, you get freedom through that, right? Whereas, and everyone talks about it like it's such a degrading thing, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm a crazy person for never doing it, to be honest, because here I am, it's degrading, like, having to be a bottom feeder in life, right? Having to work for other people, having to do demeaning tasks that you don't want to do, having to be catcalled by fucking random guys at your work, and you're not even in the fucking sex industry, it's like, oh, I'm gonna be objectified anyway, like, and I don't know, that's also a struggle, right? It's like, in the material realm, they'll tell you something is degrading, and your soul's like, actually, this is more degrading. Having to scrub this fucking toilet, or having to do these things, it's like the tedium, it's like, what's super degrading is when you get sexualized for doing a task that your boss told you to do. And you're like, it doesn't matter what you do, So, to me, on a spiritual level, I feel like the least degrading thing you can do is ownership and autonomy over yourself and your life and your direction, right? That's the least degrading thing you can do. And in this society, that's really fucking hard, right? And your soul recognizes that in like the day-to-day grind. It recognizes when something ain't right, or when you're just like, man, this is not my highest potential. And how do I reach that? Like, how do I reach that? And I feel like that's the struggle here, and the biggest thing is you have to start closing shit out, right? You have to start closing out cycles. You have to start cutting people off. You have to stop playing Mr. Nice Guy. And I know, like, everyone thinks, like, oh, when you're super spiritual, you become super nice. And that's not really the case. You become super authentic, right? You become super assertive, and people might feel that your assertiveness is aggression because they're so used to this passive aggressive way that people communicate with each other. And I'm way too autistic for that shit. Like, I can't do passive aggressive shit. Like, don't beat around the bush, tell me straight forward, or I'm gonna not understand what you're saying. I'm gonna be like, what? And so, yeah, and I feel that when you're really connected to your spirit, you feel the courage to speak your mind, to speak your truth, even if it's like the hardest thing ever, even if like there's sacrifices that come with speaking your truth, right? Those sacrifices are character building. Closing out those cycles. There were times when I quit jobs and I was like, what am I going to do next? And the answer always comes up, alright? Or there were times when I had to move and I was like, what am I going to do next? Answer always shows up. As long as you trust the process, right? Trust your intuition. If your intuition is saying, hey, today's the day, I'm fucking done, right? Trust your intuition. Your intuition is not leading you astray. It's leading you toward a more fulfilling future. Sorry, I don't even need the cards for this reading. I feel you. I feel this energy. I'm like, some shit's gotta go. Some shit's gotta change. Like, this day in, day out, stagnant, complacent, kind of existence is not the way, not for Starseed, right? Like, for an NPC, sure, a Starseed is not meant to live that. Like, you know, you might have your interlude, you can have a day job for a while, you know, and that'll be fine. But if you're not making progress on your real work and what you're really here for, then your soul is going to eat you up. It's going to be like, you gotta get on that soul work. You gotta be doing that light work, you know. And you'll feel when you're doing the light work, because that's when you feel the most, like, at peace, you know, the most, like, something is in alignment, right? So, this came out pretty sideways because it landed on here. From my point of view, it's pretty sideways, and I'm going to read it as sideways. Ace of Wands is all about a passionate new beginning, right? And I feel like it came out sideways because right now, that's up to you, right? That's up to you and your actions and your decisions, right? The Ace of Swords also talks about taking action, and if that's still in reverse and you're not taking a certain action, then you're not going to know what this new beginning has in store for you, right? The Hierophant in reverse. Do you know what a light worker does? They teach, right? They teach. And I feel like you're meant to teach something here. And you're meant to step into that. And I feel like you could be negating a certain area that you're meant to be teaching on or mentoring on, right? Like, I feel like if you're feeling called towards mentorship, like, that's what's lacking here, especially with the Magician in reverse. It's like the energy of like maybe you're being guided to mentor somebody here. Maybe you want to walk away from a certain situation in which you know, requires you to not lead in the way that you want to or the way that you feel compelled to. Alright? It's like you know that there's a leader inside of you, and it's like, I feel like there's a position here where you're just not feeling like you get to express your highest creativity in your leadership and your teaching. Alright? Got the Empress in reverse, Venus energy. And it's like something's just getting in the way of this creativity, and something that could really open up like portals for you. We have the Ten of Wands in reverse. It requires releasing a big fucking burden, right? In most decks you'll see a man carrying like a bundle of like these huge wands, right? They're basically like branches. And they're just weighing him down, and he's got to get to a castle, right? And it's like, why do you need all those? You can go find some over there by the castle when you get there if you need more burdens to carry, you know. But like, it's just like something that is just holding you down or holding you back or not allowing you to express yourself to your fullest potential, right? And I feel that you're being called on a different path. You're being called to set that shit down, because you're not going to be able to get to your destination if you keep adding on to this burden and focusing on like past energies, you know. Like, you gotta let your past die with yesterday, right? When that sun when that set, when that sunset happened, and that sun went down, and all that shit, that day was gone, that's when it died, and that's when you need to let it be dead. Like, just stop entertaining the past, right? All narratives of the past. And if you're around people who constantly entertain the narrative of your past and you know you're trying to push forward, cut them the fuck out. Cut them out, right? And we have Four of Wands in reverse. This could require you to move, get a divorce, right? The Four of Wands is the marriage and home card. So it's could be moving, could be separating, and it's also about commitments, breaking commitments. And like the workplace even. Just feeling very unsettled fucking energy. Like, you know what's gotta go. You know who's not learning and growing and evolving in your world, and that's the energy of what needs to change. Six of Cups. This could be somebody or something. Okay, Six of Cups typically talks about somebody that's been in your life for a very, very long time, possibly even into your childhood, right? This also talks about situations that you've been in for a very long time, or mindsets that you've kept for a very long time. There's a nostalgia that holds you back, or like it could be past trauma that creates like a burden for you. It's like, stop listening to the narrative of the past. If somebody doesn't see your fullest potential, then they don't belong in your life, right? Bottom line. If they're going to try to shut you down and try to minimize what it is that you do, and they're like, oh, well, there's no point in doing that, da-da-da-da-da, fuck them. Fuck them, okay? I've dealt with naysayers, okay? I know what that shit's like. When I felt a calling, a spiritual soul calling, and I've had people that were like, oh, what's the point in doing that? It's just futile, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know what? Fuck them. Guess where they are? In the past, where yesterday died, right? Like, they there, R.I.P. I don't know them anymore, right? And I don't need to. I don't want to, right? Anybody that's going to try to hold me back or try to minimize my potential, try to make me feel like I'm only here to do the bare minimum of existence, then fuck them. You know? And that's how I feel like you should be feeling on your path. Like, fuck anyone who just wants to see you in your bare minimum of existence, because a starseed is not meant for that. Right? That's NPC shit. And that ain't you. Right? That ain't you. Like, if they can't see your worth, if they can't see what you've got to offer, what kind of light you're bringing, fuck them. Their blind asses just belong in the past. Ten of Pentacles. I love this for you. Because you have 10-10, endings and new beginnings. And this new cycle that you're entering is going to really bring you the most abundance. Emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, physical abundance. You know, I see something taking root here in your life. I see something growing, something, it's like your outcomes are gestating, if that makes sense. You know, it's like you're cooking up the thing, and you know, it's like nobody looks at cake batter and thinks that's gonna be the most epic fucking cake ever until it's baked, until it's frosted, until it's all made up, and then they're like, oh my god, that's the most epic fucking cake ever, right? And then they realized that you put some pudding mix in there and made it extra delicious, and they're like, mind blown, right? Like, and so I feel that even if other people don't understand where you're at, what you're doing, and it might not make sense to anybody but you, fucking do it. Live your truth. And it's like, one time I was out in my garden. Well, it wasn't a garden, it was my yard. Right? I was in my yard and I just started fucking shoveling. I just started shoveling a huge fucking portion of the lawn, and my roommate at the time, my ex at the time, they were both like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I'm making a fucking garden. And then, at first they thought I was fucking crazy. I didn't stop. I was very consistent about it. I was like, I'm doing the thing. And then, so we went and they started helping, bringing a Zen garden to life inside there. And then they started adding plants and doing shit. And, after I moved, it became a yard again. But it's like they didn't see my vision, so they didn't understand what I was doing. So they just thought I was fucking crazy, and they couldn't see what I was trying to bring to life, right? And I was listening to this poem by H.P. Lovecraft like every day. It's called A Garden, and he talks about the garden being his heart, and I was like, I needed a physical representation of that for what I was going through. I needed a fucking garden, right? I needed to see things growing. I needed to pick out the weeds as they showed up. I needed a physical representation of what was going on the inside, right? And that was that was very spiritual for me. I'd be out there in the fucking rain, cold. I'd just be shoveling. I'd be dying. I was like, I one time had a friend show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he brought a bottle of vodka, and I had horchata, and we were like, fuck it, we're gonna get drunk and we're just digging. I don't care, day drinking, and even that process of destruction, right? Because you have to destroy to create in that kind of scenario, and it shows you the real alchemy of life. It shows you the way that sometimes people aren't going to get it. They're not going to understand why you're breaking everything apart and why you're shoveling all the useless grass out of the way, because, you're like, this is where the herbs are going to go. That's where the veggies are going to go. That's where the fruits are going to go. This is where I'm going to plant a little tree over here, and there's going to be this and that. And it's like they couldn't see it, right? They rarely can see until you start bringing your vision to life, and it's like you got to do it despite them, not in spite of them, but despite them, despite the naysayers, despite the people who can't see your vision, who don't see where you're going, who don't see what you're fucking doing. It's not their business, right? It's not their business. If they're not part of the progress, then it's not their fucking business. Anyway, I'm gonna get on with this. Guya Kali. It is time to understand to realize, the true nature of certain life circumstances. Be grateful for what you've learned, but see things for what they are rather than what you wish them to be. You shall be able to recognize, process, and prosper from the truth, and do not need to fear the revelations that are unfolding. Kapali. Tune into the spiritual power within you. It is beyond what society understands and can offer you. It will nourish, protect, inspire, and guide you through any troubles. If your path is diverging from your original plans, or is out of sync with those around you, trust in what is happening and know that you are within Kali's care. Boom. Basically what I was saying. So yeah. Namaste. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.